Our next guest became obsessed with sorting through the misinformation in the digital age and educating people on how to seek the truth for themselves. Joining me now is the author of How to Win the War on Truth, Samuel Spitale. Samuel, thank you so much for joining us here on Live in the Bay. We're so appreciative.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, so I would love to talk about your book, How to Win the War on Truth. First and foremost, kind of give us an overall glimpse of what readers can expect when they open up this book.
Sure. So the book is an illustrated graphic novel that's part crash course in media literacy, part psychology lesson, and part understanding the powers that be behind most of the misinformation that we encounter on a day-to-day basis.
And when it comes to that misinformation, what about it inspired you to want to write this book and get the truth out there?
Yeah, so the book kind of came out of a lot of conversations I was having around 2016 with friends and family. That election cycle had a lot of misinformation, and I feel like we've kind of been living through this onslaught of misinformation ever since. And so I became a bit obsessed with how do you help people see through the BS? You know, how far back do we have to step to see that so many of the things we believe have been sold to us like any other consumer good? And a lot of the beliefs, you know, we cling to, a lot of the information we encounter on a daily basis is, you know, not news, but more noise.
Yeah, that's so true. And oftentimes so many of us don't even know whether or not the information we're getting is true, if it's not, but so many people believe what they just hear and see on the internet.
Right. And I think part of that is that you know, we don't often know how to process the media messages we get. We encounter anywhere from 4,000 to 10,000 media messages a day, but we often don't distinguish between, you know, journalism versus advertising or publicity or branding or PR. And so the book is a bit of a crash course in media literacy to help us see each of these with a wider lens. So, you know, we think of marketing as, you know, selling a new pair of sneakers or advertising fast food, but it's also, marketing is also the reason, you know, we thought Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. It was a marketing campaign. Marketing is the reason we take a coffee break at work instead of a tea break. You know, back when the 8-hour workday was getting mandated breaks at the earlier part of the 20th century, the coffee companies got together and created the slogan, coffee break, so that when people had the break, they would think, oh, I should have a coffee, as opposed to I should have a tea or another form of caffeine.
Interesting. And that's such an interesting way to look at it, too. And, you know, something that you said that I'd love to go a little deeper on, you said that it's also, there's visuals in here. So I was hoping that maybe we could talk about a couple of examples of what people might be able to see and expect in here.
Sure. Yeah, the book is fully illustrated by Alan Wincup, who is a graphic artist out of Canada. And the illustrations are great. They add a dose of whimsy and humor to a lot of the otherwise drier subject matter. They also make a lot of the academic concepts in the book more accessible to a mass audience. And so from the beginning, I had always conceived the book as illustrated, either with spot illustrations or fully illustrated as a graphic novel. Because the illustrations help with the learning tool, with the critical thinking tool in there. There's a lot of infographics in the book because so much of the book is dedicated to debunking misinformation. So many of the things we believe, everything from, you know, a low-fat diet being good to you, to tax cuts stimulating the economy, or yeah, there's just so many.
There's so many.
There are like hundreds of examples in the book.
Well, you mentioned misinformation. So what about the misinformation monster? I know that that's huge in the
yes,
book.
There is one illustration that's kind of based on this old illustration about the muckraking press, and we kind of updated it. So the old illustration was about, sensationalized newspapers back probably like over 100 years ago. I forget exactly how old that illustration is. And so I wanted to update it for the modern era, for the, the information age, which seems like more of a misinformation age at this point. And so, yeah, so the tentacles are each one of the problems we're, dealing with daily. With the online onslaught of information.
And also the emotion wheel, right?
Yes.
That's also another big concept in the book that people need to focus on.
Yes, so emotional awareness is a big part of the psychology lesson in the book. Emotions are kind of the subtext of our day-to-day interactions in life, and we don't often think of the emotions that drive us into doing some of the things we do or having some of the opinions we have. And that makes it very easy for bad actors to manipulate us emotionally, whether it's politicians or corporations, whether it's being fearful, invoking fear to sell car alarms or bottled water, scaring us into thinking that drinking glasses are unsanitary or water fountains are unsanitary, so we need bottled water. And so becoming aware of our emotions, especially when they're activated, can help us tame the emotions. And this is especially, noticeable in political campaigns, like political attack ads. When you often see the negative ads, why do we see them? Because they work. They rile us up and, get us to vote for a candidate by tapping into those raw emotions. And so emotional awareness is a huge part of fighting disinformation and propaganda. And so, yeah, a red flag, if we're watching partisan news, that's another. They seem to tap into negative emotions a lot, but, the news is, for the most part, should be nonpartisan. So the news shouldn't make you angry or fearful, or at least not in its delivery.
Yeah. And there's one more that I wanted to get in there that I really think we can touch on that's important. The think tank, because emotions, all these things oftentimes come from here.
Yeah, well, the think tank, that one illustration took like a good week to do, a week to research on my part, and then a week on the artist's part to link everything. And so it kind of illustrates the flow of money, basically, in super PACs and the money behind so many of the messages we, that we encounter, but also the beliefs, like, tax cuts stimulating the economy, like that, those ideas come out of think tanks, and they're not necessarily fact, but we've heard them so many times that we believe them. Marijuana being a gateway drug is another misinformation that we've been sold over the years. The idea that immigrants commit more crime than, say, native-born folks, which isn't true. It's the opposite, actually. The more immigrants in a community, usually the safer the community, statistically. And so there's just so many things that we believe that kind of goes unchecked because of the internet. Anybody can post anything.
Yeah.
So we're missing the old media gatekeepers.
And so
it's it's kind of a free-for-all, and so a lot of things aren't vetted, and oftentimes what goes viral on social media is the things that elicit the greatest arousal, the most, the emotion. So if something makes us angry or fearful, then that's going to get way more traction than just straight information, which doesn't elicit an emotion. It's just information. It's, it's informative. And so, yeah.
That makes 100%, thank you. Well, that makes so much sense, and I can't wait to read more. There's a lot of information to pack in here, but thank you so much, Samuel, for joining us here on Live in the Bay. We appreciate it so much.
Thank you for having me.